Let us understand about virtualization. As such, as a developer, we will not be in a position to set up the entire cluster or various development environments in a single system. That's where virtualization comes in handy. Let's understand how virtualization works. Assume I do have my own system, say laptop. It will have its own resources in terms of it will have its own hard disk capacity, and it will have its own processor, and it will have its own memory, and it will be having a network connection to connect to the internet. On top of it, we will be having an operating system to operate or to manage the resources. It could be any operating system. For understanding purpose, let's assume I do have an operating system of Windows. On top of Windows, I may have a number of components, softwares installed. Simple example, say Visual Studio or Office. Like this, I may have a number of software installed. Along with this, there is a tool or a software called VirtualBox or VMware. This is a virtualization software, and this would work only if the virtualization is enabled within that particular system at the BIOS level. By default, all the systems nowadays it's enabled. Once it is enabled, I should be in a position to create virtual machines on top of it. When I say virtual machines, it will have its own dedicated amount of hard disk, processor and RAM. And it will be using the underlying host system's capacity. For example, I can reserve say 20 GB of hard disk and 1 core processor and X amount of RAM capacity, and that would be leveraging or using the capacity available within the host. And it should be in a position to connect to the network as well. And it can get a dedicated IP address. So I do have two virtual machines. On top of it, I can import any image which is ready-made available. I can import any image with all the predefined configurations. I can import, or I can install a new operating system on top of it. Simple example, I can install a CentOS operating system or Ubuntu, and on top of it I can run whatever the configuration or the software I want to run. I should be in a position to run it. To practice various components of Hadoop ecosystem, there is a offering available from Cloudera. Cloudera provides the VMware to do a quick start, where I can download the virtual machines corresponding to VirtualBox or VMware. I can select the platform. Say if it is a VirtualBox, I can select, and I should be in a position to download the VirtualBox, and I can download and install the VirtualBox from this specific website. Specific to the operating system, I should be in a position to download and install. I can download the VirtualBox and install. That should get me the VirtualBox somewhat similar to this. I can get the VirtualBox, and I should be in a position to import. I should be in a position to import any appliance. So whatever the file, OVF file that we are downloading from Hortonworks or Cloudera, I can select them and I can import it. Or if I want to create a new virtual machine, I can create a new virtual machine. For the understanding purpose, let's go ahead and create a virtual machine of type CentOS. And type Linux and version. I don't have CentOS, so I will go ahead and select other Linux of type 64-bit. How much amount of memory should be allocated to that virtual machine? I'll go ahead and allocate 2 GB. And what should be the hard disk type? I'll go ahead and create a hard disk that would get created in a specific folder location. I'll go ahead and select a type virtual machine disk, that is VMDK, where I can plug and play into various VMs. I will leave all other values default. Say next, and where this particular VirtualBox VM should get stored, I am going to select a location. So in this particular location, it's going to store this as a VMDK file. The entire operating system and the configurations and the file available within this operating system will get stored as a file in this specific location. And I am going to assume it's going to consume 32 GB of hard disk space. Say create. A VirtualBox got created. Now I should be in a position to configure the settings. I can go ahead and select the CD drive is empty. I can go ahead and select the operating system of 7. So the CentOS 7, the image that I downloaded from the CentOS operating system. Like how Cloudera provides the image, CentOS also provides the image. I can download whatever the version that I want. I should be in a position to choose the version and download. I can get into the version 7 CentOS. It's going to provide me the option to download. Here I have downloaded this particular ISO file, and I have loaded that as a part of VM. So once this particular VM, the hard disk is loaded, I can choose the booting order. The boot order, the first should be the optical drive. I don't have any floppy, I can unselect them as well. On network, it should get the network attached to my wireless adapter so that it can get the internet connectivity as well. So with this, all the configurations, that is, I have selected 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of hard disk, and I have loaded the CentOS image into the optical drive, and I will start this operating system. Since the optical drive is in the first order, it will try to load. I can choose the language that I want, say continue, select the time zone, and configure the other configurations like keyboard. So I have completed all the required steps. I can go ahead and continue with the installation. I can set the root password, and in any case, if I wanted to have any administrator user, I can go ahead and create an administrator user as well. So that should complete the entire installation of CentOS, and I should be in a position to log into this specific machine and do whatever the process I want I can do. The entire operating system is running as a separate window. So the entire operating system is going to run in a separate window. The similar way I can start n number of machines. So the virtualization is going to facilitate in a big way where I can import whatever the VM that I want, or I can create any VM I want, and I can start and do my development process. For the quick setup, whichever the offering that you are comfortable with, either the Hortonworks or the Cloudera, you can download and import it within the VM, and that should help you to do the entire setup, the local setup, to try out various practicals of big data components. Now the installation of the VM is done, and it's going to ask me to reboot. Let me go ahead and reboot the VM. Once the VM gets started, I should be in a position to log in, and I should have all the features available in a single window. That is, I am making an entire operating system running in a single window. It will have its own dedicated hard disk, which is going to share it with the host. So like this, I can have any image imported into the VM, and the similar feature is provided through the VMware as well. The VM is up and running. I'm able to log into the VM. Now the VM is all mine. I can install whatever that I want as long as it is legal.